So inshallah we will do a few more ayats about the jinns as mentioned in Al-Quran. And today we'll do inshallah 2 ayats. One is from Surah Ar-Rahman and the other is for Surah Al-An'am. Okay. So I'll do a simple translation first of the ayat number 33 of Surah Ar-Rahman, and then we'll go and do a detailed breakdown of the ayat. So in this ayat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is directly addressing 2 kinds. One is the jinn kind and the mankind by saying, Ya ma'ashar al-jinni wal-insi. Ya ma'ashar is, O you the company, O you the people or the groups of al-jinn and al-ins, the jinn kind and the mankind. So after addressing them directly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Inistata'atum, if you are capable or if you have the ability, an tanfuzu, that you can escape, you can get out, min aqtaris samawat, from the boundaries, from the edges, from the limits of the heavens, wal ardi, and the earth. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, fanfudu, then do it. Do escape, see if you can do it. La tanfuzuna, you will not be able to escape, illa bisultan, except with the authority and the power. So basically, it is not actually in the physical sense that you try to get out of the limits, but what it is saying that the superiority and the authority and the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is everywhere. You may not be able to get away by disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala anywhere. Doesn't matter how far you can go away, you are still in the control and authority of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You are still under His power. Okay? So His power is the supermost power above all. So inshallah we'll just do a detailed analysis of this ayat and then we'll go to the next one. So here the first letter or first word actually, which is ya, it is called harf-e-nida. And it means, simply in English, it is O. So if you want to call someone, or if you want to talk to someone first, what you do, you want to draw his attention, the attention of the person that you want to speak to. And for that, you use the word ya, just like in English, O. And the purpose is that whatever you want to say, you say after the person has turned the attention to you. And for that purpose, the word ya is used. Okay? But if you don't say anything before you start speaking, the person may not hear every or the first word of your speech. So ya is used in Arabic language, that's called harf-e-nida, to call someone, to draw the attention of someone, and then you start talking. So that's the first word. Then the second word is Ain, Sheen and Ra, Ashara. This has multiple meanings. One word that is used like number 10 is Ashar also. But these are 3 letters, so they belong to the group we call Fa'ala. And if we put a meme in the beginning and make a word Ma'asharun, it's a noun, and this means group or company. Ma'asharun means a group. If you're talking to a group of people, the word for that is Ma'asharun, the original word. Remember that always the original noun is made with the tanween on the last letter, 2 dhammas on the last letter, and it's in this case it's pronounced run, ma'asharun. Okay. So now we have this one word ma'asharun, which is a noun, and then as we see that there are jim, noon, these two, and we have seen this coming few times, alif, noon and sin. From these three letters we create the word jinnun, which is the original word jinnun, and this is insun. These have come few times before. Jinnun means jinn, and insun means man, and these are plurals. Okay. So if we go ahead and put an al before these, so this will become al, and this will be al. Al brings the meaning of the. So this will be the jinns, and this will be the man, plural, or mankind, or jinn kind. Okay? Now when we put al before a noun that has two dhammas or tanween, it removes one of these two. So this will become al-insu, and this becomes al-jinnu. Okay, that is the characteristic of making from a common noun to a proper noun. Okay. Common noun was jinnun, and indefinite, and we put al, it becomes the. But when al is put, then one dhamma is removed from the last letter. So the word is al-jinnu and al-insu. Now, so what we are going to do, we are going to combine ma'asharun and al-jinnu. The jinn. These are two separate words. Ma'asharun, a group, and al-jinnu, the jinns. Okay? So when we establish a relationship between two nouns, we put an of in between, and it will be a company of jinn or a group of jinns. Okay? So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is addressing a group or a company or all the jinns. Okay? So in Arabic, in English, we put an of to make a relationship. It's called mudaf, mudaf ilayh. What we do in Arabic, we make two changes. First change is made by removing two dhammas by one. So this word become ma'asharu. And on the second word, we take the last letters dhamma and make it a kasra. Okay. So it becomes al-jinni. Then when they recite together, combined recitation of these two words, we do not pronounce this alif in between, and combine ra with lam. So what that does, this alif that has a hamza on it, we don't pronounce, so we put a little swad on it. And now this vertical line is called hamzatul wasl. That means do not pronounce. So what's the pronunciation now? Ma'asharul jinni. That is the meaning of. Company of the jinns. Ma'asharul jinni. Now,
questions. So when you use al, so changes happen in two stages, right? First, for the noun, the double dhamma convert to single dhamma.
That's all.
But
That's all. That's all does that.
then when this kasra change to?
No, when we combine now two nouns,
Right.
and make a relationship,
Oh, combine two nouns.
combine two nouns and make a relationship, because before this was an independent noun
Right.
and that was an independent noun. Now you are combining to make a relationship between two nouns, And that's called the rule of mudaf, mudaf ilayh. Okay, mudaf means izafa, adding some word into another word. In English, it is very easy, you just put an off in between. In Arabic, you have to do two things. You have to modify both the words, last letters harakat on them. Okay, so the last letter was ra here and there was dhamma. So instead of a 2, we made it 1. On the first word. On the second word, dhamma goes to a kasra. That's the rule. Okay? So this word becomes ma'asharu. This becomes al-jinni. Okay? Now comes the reading. In the recitation, whenever you're combining two words and there's an alif in between, alif doesn't do anything. You can drop it, the sound of that. Okay? So then you have to combine this ra with this lam. Okay? And when you still have to write alif in there because the original word had alif in it. Okay? But now what you do, you change the harakat, which is fatah, hamza harakat, into this little thing called swad. Swad is a short form of wasal, swad. And wasal means to join. So what you're doing, you are pronouncing the join of these two letters together, and this vertical line is sacrificing itself. So the representation for that is small swad.
Is it possible you can have more than 2 nouns with 3, 4, 5 nouns?
Yes.
And
yeah, you can combine, you know.
so
The group of the jinns of a land. So now you have 3 combinations. They call compound.
okay.
Okay, so you can keep combining off many times, and you will continue applying the same rule, the first and the second, first and the second.
Okay, so suppose on the al-jinni it changes to kasra.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a third noun,
Mm-hmm.
will it impact it?
No, so then what you do, if you have a third noun,
Yeah.
you start from the last 2 nouns, apply that rule,
Okay.
and then on the combined word, apply one more rule. And we will see once in a while it comes, so I'll go over there in detail. Okay. So anyway, so the word is ma'asharul jinni. Okay. Now, the characteristic of a harf-e-nada, ya, is that when you address someone, then what it does, it looks at the first noun and changes this last letter dhamma to a fatah. Okay, so now it became fatah. And if you hear carefully, it's like if the way Arabs is speaking, they will tell that a mother will say, my son's name is Abdullah. But when she's calling him, she will say, Ya Abdullah. Okay, so she will change this to fatah, Abdu to Abda. Why? Because she is using the word ya, addressing. So that is the characteristic of harf-e-nada, calling word, that it right after ya, when the noun comes, it changes dhamma to a fatah.
And how
So
many
now-
harf-e-nada?
What's that?
How many harf-e-nada letter
There is one only ya.
in this surah? But in general, the list
Usually, mostly you will see that one.
only one.
Yeah. So, Ya ma'asharal jinni, O you, the company of al-jinn. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is directly addressing them by calling Ya and O you, the company of jinns. And then, so this word now becomes O, company of jinns, of the jinns. Okay?
If you say, oh, jinn and man, you live in company of, how will you have how will you, what harakat would be on the noon? How would it be?
Ya ayyuhal, they say there's a different thing. When the word starts with al. If the noun starts with al, like al-jinn or al-ins, then you don't use ya, but you use ya ayyuha.
Okay. You don't use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, because if you look at the names of the surah, ya ayyuhal muzammil, al-muzammil, al was there. So you used ya ayyuha. Ya ayyuhal muddassir. Ya ayyuhal insano. Al insano. Al ins is same thing as an insano. So there you use ayyuha. If al is not there, then you use ya. That's the standard rule. And you find that in the Quran. Meaning is same, except al is used with ya ayyuha. Okay? So if mashar was not there and al-jinn was there, it will be ya ayyuhal jinn.
But ya ayyuhal mudaththir, pointing to a single person, right? But ya ayyuhal.
It doesn't matter it's a one person or more than one person, as long as al is there.
I see.
Al is the. The could be a group or the could be one person. So as long as al is there, al is the distinction of the proper noun, definite noun. Al-kitab. So when you use al, then you use ya ayyuha with that. Okay? So here, so the second thing is that now, this waw. This waw is called waw ataf. Ataf means it is combining two things. This and that. Okay? So the entire rule of this previous word will apply to al-insu. So it will be, so you can separately, for understanding, you can say, Ya ma'ashar al-insu. Actually, insi. Ya ma'ashar al-insi. Ya ma'ashar al-jinni wa ya ma'ashar al-insi. Just like a parenthesis, you take out ya ma'ashar common for both of them, but it applies to both of them. Okay?
So about ya, it reminds me of another point you made last week, is that in Arabic, the flow, the reading,
Yeah.
dictate. So if you had ya
Yeah.
al-mashari, it is awkward.
Oh yeah, it will be easy, it will take extra time, yeah. And it will be difficult for the correct pronunciation. So to make it smooth, easy rhythm, adjustments are done in the speech. So so we already looked at the word al-insu. If you put after ma'asharu, it will become al-insi, just like jinni. Okay? Just like here, it became insi. So that's the next word. And the man. And the man, plural. Or mankind, jinn kind and mankind. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is addressing two of his creations together. Okay? In the Quran, which is being revealed to man only. So Quran is the book for jinns also. Quran was revealed, jinns have to follow because jinns don't have prophets and the books. Their prophets in their books are the prophets and the books of the people, mankind. They have to follow whatever book exists at a given time in the human society. They have to be the followers of that book also. Okay? So that is up to this point. Now, after addressing them, after drawing the attention of these two groups, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning something else. Inistata'atum. So let's look at these words. So here, the word in It means if. And this is called a harf shartiya. Shart means a condition. So whenever a conditional statement has to be made, the in is used for that. Okay. Then after that, we have these three letters: ba, fa'ala, ta, waw, and ayn. Okay. These three letters. Okay. Now this word means to obey or to submit. The word that we know, ata'at, is from the same root letters. This means to submit or obey. Okay. Now what we are going to do, we are going to make a bigger word. In the Arabic, we can start with the three letters. In this case, it's ta, waw, and ayn. And we can make bigger words. And one of the rules of making bigger word is that we add these three letters, alif, sin, and ta in the beginning. Ist. And this brings certain meaning, but we keep the three letters after that. So this rule is called iftaf'ala. Ist in the beginning and original three letters. Okay. So here, if I put alif, sin, and ta, and carry these three letters, ta, waw, and ayn. Okay. So the word becomes the 6 letters word. 3 are the original letters, and we'll see what the meanings are and how we pronounce that. But the rule is that a bigger word can be made by, and we know some of these words. Ghafara, istaghfara. Okay? Ghafara is to forgive. When we add ist before that, it brings the meaning of asking forgiveness. Okay? So that is a rule by making a bigger word, and this is called a bab number 10, and the bab number 10 adds 3 letters in the beginning, alif, sin, and ta. Okay? So the harakat on these are is, taf, ala. These are the harakat. Alif has a kasra, sin has a sukoon, so we pronounce is. Then we combine next to pronounce taf, and then ala. So if I put the same harakats here, is, tat, wa'a. That will be is, tat, wa'a. Is, tat, over here. Okay? Now, in the pronunciation, this waw is a weak letter and it is carrying a fataha. Waw has the sound of dhamma, but here it is a fataha. So we adjust the sound, and this becomes the sound of an alif. So it becomes istata. So the word now becomes istata. Istata means to be able to do something. To be able to do something, or to be capable of doing something. Have the ability of achieving something. Istita'at is a word which is commonly used in Urdu, means ability.
The word, the letter waw was dropped is because
It is a weak, number one, it's a weak letter.
okay.
Number two, it has a mismatched harkat on it. The sound of O, sound of waw, should be dhamma sound. O sound. but by the rule of the word, it is ending up with a fatha. Okay, so to what we do, we drop. We are not. We are replacing this by an alif, because fatha has the sound of alif. Okay, so it is easy to pronounce istata, and the weak letters is helping us to change it to an alif. So the meaning of this word is that to be able to do something. Okay. Now we'll go to a little bit grammar. When you have fa'ala, this means to do. Okay. And if you remember or you look into your table, if you put a tum at the end, fa'altum, this brings the meaning of you, plural, and the past tense. That is the tum after the 3 letters brings the meaning of you, plural, and the past tense. So the meaning of fa'altum is you all did. Okay. So now we are going to apply that here on this word. So it will become istata'atum. Istata'atum, which is this word here. Okay. So now what we are going to do, we are going to apply on these letters here. Istata'atum. Istata'atum means you were able to do. Past tense and plural, you. So this will be you were able to do. Istata'atum. Okay. Now we will take the help of this first word before that, in. Okay. So if we put in, it becomes a conditional statement. In is a conditional statement. Okay. So now in istata'atum, if you could do, if you were able to do, or if you could do it. So a challenge is being presented, a conditional challenge is being presented with the help of this in conditional statement. If you are able to do, or if you could do, or if you have the ability to do.
Why is it past tense and then it's
well, I'm still saying could do. If you could do, or if you were able to do, or if you are able to do, which means it's conditional, it's never going to happen. It's not never going to happen.
But it's written in the past tense.
It's, yeah, you are taking the help of the past tense to convert from definite happening to possibility of happening. So in Arabic grammar, we take the past tense of the word and change into a conditional statement. If you could do, if you were able to do, or if you are able to do, it's all hypothetical cases.
English language uses the same construct.
Right, it's similarly.
If I were able to do.
Yeah,
The same
yeah, if I was able to do.
Except
It's a conditional, if I was able to do.
conditional, but English is not past tense.
You know, if I say I
If
were able to
if,
do,
Yeah, if I say I were able to do.
It's not tense.
But if I'm saying I am able to do, that's different from saying I were able to.
well, say,
You know,
for example, if you say, if I could go, I would have gone.
Okay.
Okay? If I could, I would have.
Okay.
So
This
so
is the past
in
tense.
the language we bring, in English we bring the condition as could and the consequence of the condition as would have. Okay? So similarly, here in Arabic, you take the help of in and make it as jumla shartiya, conditional statement. If you could do, if you were able to do, or if you are able to do, they all is the same thing. It's a conditional statement, which hypothetical, it's not going to happen. Okay? So that's what is being said. Okay? And then what you do, you read these together. Okay? And for reading these together, you don't pronounce this alif here. And when you don't pronounce the alif, you put a small swad on it. Hamzatul wasl. Okay? But now you will have to do one more thing. Because this letter has, last letter, noon has a sukoon on it. And you are combining with sin. So when you have two sukoons, you cannot pronounce. So what you do, you remove this by a kasra, and now you can pronounce. Inis tata'atu. If you could do. Okay? Or you are able to do. Or you have the ability or the power to do. Okay? That's what is being said here. Inis tata'atum. Okay? If you could do, or you are able to do. Okay, so now we are going to do one more here. First of all, we are going to use the word an.
One more question. When you have two like this, doesn't right? Then he changed to first one to kasra. But if you change the second one to kasra,
So can do that. That's the rule to put off.
what will change that one? Like it will change the meaning. It will change the anything else.
It's a poor sentence. I mean, it's like you're speaking a language and you mixing up the sentences and the grammar and the words formation, things like that. So you have to follow exactly the rules of formation. That's the reason that we have to read Quran very carefully, so we don't mispronounce the Quran. Otherwise, the word may not exist, or it may have different meaning. Okay. So now let's look at the next word, an. Okay, this an means that. Okay. There are many other meanings, but here an means that. Okay. And this an will do something. Okay, now the word after that we want to learn is noon, fa and zal. Noon, fa and zal. These three letters, this means to escape. To escape or go away. Okay. Nafada means to escape. Also, if we have put a ta in the beginning and buna at the end, this grammar brings the meaning of ta is for you and present tense, and vuna brings the meaning of plural. Okay, so So if you have three letters, fa and then lam in the middle. Fa'ala means to do. Taf'aluna means you do. You all do, or future you will do. So that is the formation of the grammar of a present tense and plurality. And you, second person. Okay? So we are going to apply that rule here. Okay? Now, there is a rule that middle letter does not always follow the same sound, harkat. Middle letter can carry dhamma or fatha or kasra. Okay? So in this case, middle letter will carry a dhamma. Okay? So this word will become tanfozuna. Okay. So we added a ta in the beginning here, and we added a vuna in there. And the middle three letters are there. Noon, fa, and zal. Okay. Now, so the meaning will be you escape. You all escape, or future you will escape. Okay. So the meaning will be you escape. Now we are going to learn one more rule, is that in this kind of formation, first of all, this is a very clear grammar. Taf'aluna, tanfuzuna, okay, ta and huna. Okay. Now if in this word, okay, we make two changes. If we put an an before that, and if we remove noon, so this becomes an tanfuzu. This brings the meaning of may in the sentence. These two things, you take the present tense, taf'aluna, and you add an, that, and remove noon. So this brings the meaning of might, may, can, possibly. So that is how. In English, we just put a may or might in the middle of the sentence, of the two words, like you might or you may escape. In Arabic, that's what we do. We put an there and remove the last letter noon. An tanfuzu. That, and this extra alif with a little circle is put just for writing purpose. It has no meaning, nothing, it's just for text purpose, that this is a separate word completely. This is called alif with a little circle on it. It's called alif firqaya, alif of separation. It separates the two words, that's all it does. Because what we did, we removed the noon, so now we want to make sure, tell the reader that this word ended there. Tanfuzuna was, now it's tanfuzu, so this, don't mix up this with another word. Firqaya means faraq, separate, alif. So the meaning is that, an tanfuzu, that you may escape. If you could do, if you have the ability, now if I make a proper English now, beautify English, I would say, inistata'atum, if you have the ability, an tanfuzu, to escape. That you may escape.
If I don't use that special alif, how will you change the meaning? Will you change
No, nothing will change.
whatsoever?
Nothing will change. It's just the writing text script, writing style. Yeah. As a matter of fact, someone was telling me that in the modern newspapers, they don't even write this alif.
Yeah, I
In
understand.
Arabic newspapers, They don't write this alif there.
Because
But they don't put any harakat, so that's a different thing.
there is 7 different kind of script, right? So this is.
No, there are not 7 kind of script. There's 7 kinds of qiraats. Script only one. Yeah. Actually, there is an Indian script and Osmani script, but
There's
Osmani
Kufi
script is
also,
huh?
right? One of the earlier Kufi script.
Right. Yeah, but that's a style. Just like in English, you have a, in a word processor, you have so many different scripts, calligraphic. That's a different thing. So anyway, so antanfuzu, that you may escape. If you are able to escape, okay? So that you may escape.
Okay. Does it constitute any pause because to emphasize the sentence?
No.
Still?
No, it doesn't really. In istata'atum an tanfuzu. Yeah. Okay. So you may escape. If you have the ability, go and escape. Okay? It's challenge being placed to the mankind and the jinn kind, that if you have power, you have the ability, you have the strength to escape. Escape where or where from is the next word. Okay, so let's look at those words. Okay. So the word starts with qaf, ta and ra. Qatrun means boundary or limit or bounds, edge of something. Qatrun. Okay? And its plural is aqtarun. Aqtarun, bounds or limits. That's the word aqtarun. Okay. Now, so we will keep this word aqtarun here. Boundaries or bounds or limits or the edges, could be any of those. That is aqtarun. Okay, you have to pronounce the full word with the 2 dhammas, aqtarun. Okay. Now, the word sama'un means sky. Okay. One sky. Typically, the sky that we can observe, the blue canopy that we see, is called sky. Okay. The plural of this word is samawatun. Samawatun. Now, this is used from the Quran. We know that there are 7, but we don't call them 7 skies. We call 7 heavens, because we don't know. The sky is the one which we can only see and looks like blue canopy on our heads. That's the sky. But others skies, we don't know how they look. So the word for them is not used skies, but heavens. So samawatun means heavens. Okay. Samawatun means heavens. Okay. Now we'll put an al before that. Okay. And this will bring the meaning of the heavens. Okay. Now we have to see how we read this thing, or what we do when we put the al. The very first thing that al, the, would do is remove two dhammas and put one in there. Okay, so that's the first change. So it became samawatu now. Okay, now al and seen. When seen and lam come together, seen is a shamsi letter, so you don't pronounce lam, but you pronounce seen 2 times. So it becomes as-samawatu. Okay, so this will be, pronunciation will be as-samawatu. Okay. So now we have 2 words, aqtarun, which is the boundaries, and we have as-samawatu, the heavens, right? These are 2 separate words, 2 separate nouns. Now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to combine these 2 by putting an off in between. Edges of the heavens, or boundaries, or the limits of the heavens.
Okay. The heavens, we know the Quran says that the 7th heaven, right?
Yeah.
So in this heaven, should we understand as a dominion, as a universe?
We don't know. We know very little about all that world. Yeah. Could be a physical boundary, or it could be dominion there. Could be anything. We don't know. We don't even know what is beyond the first heavens.
Some scholars who research the issue of time and space have explained this as 7 parallel universes of time and space.
Could be anything. I'm saying we have very little knowledge about something that beyond what we can observe here, except that what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us in the Quran. Okay? So we don't know. So, but we just have to believe these are 7 heavens. Whatever is there between or above or below, we have no knowledge of that. So now what we are going to do, we are going to put an off and relate these 2 things. Boundaries of the heavens. In English we put an off. In Arabic what we do, first thing we do, on the first noun, we change 2 dhammas into 1. On the second noun, we change this dhamma to a kasra. Same rule we just went through, mudaf mudaf ilayh. Okay. So the meaning became the boundaries or edges or bounds of the heavens. Okay. How would you pronounce them? Again, do the same thing. We don't pronounce this alif. Okay. And if we don't pronounce, we put a little swad on it. Hamzatul wasl. And the pronunciation will be aqtarus samawati. Okay, you have to pronounce samawati. Here is aqtarus samawati, because lam was not pronounced to begin with. So seen has to be pronounced with this ra. Aqtarus samawati, edges or boundaries of the heavens. Okay. Now we are going to do one more thing. We are going to put a min before that. Min means from, and min is a harf-e-jar. Harf-e-jar looks at the noun, the last letter, and it changes dhamma to a kasra. Okay. Min aqtaris samawati is the full words, that's what's in the Quran. From the edges of the, or from bounds of the heavens. From bounds of the heavens. Okay. Now, same thing. The other word is ardun. Ardun means earth. Okay. And you put al before that. The earth. Okay. And al will remove on the ma here, so it will become al ardu, the earth. Okay. And this waw in between is bringing the same concept. Aqtaris samawati, and there will be aqtaril ardi, from the edges of the earth. Okay. But here it is a heavens and earth is just one huge thing. So as I said before that, don't take this as a physical sense. Okay, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that as far as this whole universe, His creation is spread out, you are under my control. You cannot break away from my control. Okay, this is what's being said, min aqtaris samawati wal ard. It is not like a physical boundary and I jump over that boundary and I said I'm out of it. Okay, it is the authority of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You cannot get out of that. You are in His full total control wherever you are. Okay, so and the earth. Okay, so now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is expanding the statement by saying, as so far what he has said, if you are able to escape from the bounds of the heavens and the earth, then do it. The next logical statement, if you are able to, then show me, do it. So that is what being mentioned in the next word. Okay, so let's look at that. We learned this word, nafaza, means to escape. Okay, to escape. Okay. Now, if we have these three letters, fa, and lam, which means to do, if we want to make a command out of it, if I remove to from here, it becomes an order, do, right? In Arabic, what we do, we put an alif in the beginning, ifal. Ifal means do. It's an order, it's a command. And it's also in the table. If you look in the table I gave, it's command, it's order, it's the amr, do it. The bottom row, the first box, if al. If you want to tell one person to do something, you say if al. Okay? If you have more than one person, you want to give a command, you just add a vav there. If alu. And then you do the same thing. If alu, plural, do, plural. Okay. So if we apply this rule to these three letters, noon, fa, and dal, okay, this word will become infazu actually.
That's because the middle letter could be
Carried,
any.
we saw that just before that, the same carried in the middle letter, fa had carried. When we were creating the tanfuzu here, tanfuzuna, the middle letter had It's the same three letters. They're repeating 3 times in the ayat. Okay? So in fuzu means it's an order, escape. If you could do it. So it's a challenge. It's more than an order, it's a challenge. If you are able to get out of the bounds of the heavens and the earth, fa means then. Okay? So when you combine fa with that, so or then you don't pronounce this alif here. Fanfuzu. Combine fa with the noon. Fanfuzu. Challenge from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to all the mankind, all the jinn kind. If you think you can, you have the ability, you have the strength, show me if you could do that. Escape. Run away. Then escape. Or so escape. Okay, the word after that, tanfuzuna, we just learned before that. Tanfuzuna, ta and wuna brings the meaning of present and future tense. So nafaza, tanfuzuna. Tanfuzuna, you will escape. Or you escape. This is tanfuzuna. We just created that word a while ago. Tanfuzuna. It has both meanings, you present tense and you future tense. Okay. Now the word before that is la, which means not. So this will become you will not escape. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not only presenting a challenge, but He is responding also. Try to escape, and then He Himself is saying, you will not be able to escape. You cannot escape. Okay, He's still showing the authority and the power that I know you will not be able to do it. Okay, la tanfuzuna. Okay, you will not do. Okay. Now, to add a little bit more in that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has 2 more words here. Okay, and let's see what they bring in the sentence with the challenge. Okay, so here is you will not do it, or you will not be able to do it. Escape. You will not escape, or you will not be able to escape, because it's a conditional statement. Okay. Okay. So what is being said after that? Illa. Illa means but or except. Illa means except or but. Okay. Now the next word starts with these 3 letters, Sin, Lam and Ta. Okay. This means, these 3 letters means to have authority. To have authority. Okay. And the noun from these is sultan or sultanun. Sultanun means authority. Okay. This word is used for the kings also because kings have power and authority. Okay. And this is used for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or for anything that has a show of authority and power. The word is sultan. And full word is sultanun. Okay, so now we are going to put a B, ba with a kasra B, which means with. And B is a harf jar. Harf jar will look at the last letters to the mas and will change to kasras. Okay. Illa bisultanin. Okay. And when you stop, you pronounce sultan. You don't pronounce two kasras. Except with authority.
Question. When it says with the Hafiz always kasra, we understand that. Why is a double kasra time? Isn't it in part on that or the same meaning with double kasra time? I mean kasra time or with kasra.
Right. The original word has two dhammas.
Okay. Okay.
So they both have to go.
Okay. I got it.
Yeah.
But meaning is the same with one kasra or two kasra.
No.
Different.
Well, there is no word with one kasra unless some other word is making it change.
Or like a
By itself, when you create the noun first time, it has to be created by the rule of the two dhammas on it. Okay. Now, when after that this word is, for example, you put two dhammas and then you add al before that.
Then it becomes one number.
Then it becomes one dhamma.
And then it becomes one kasra.
Then it will become one kasra.
Okay, I got you.
Okay. So, but they originally always have to have two dhammas.
Yeah, in a noun, yeah.
Noun. So, except with the authority. So, what is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying? That try to run away from the limits or the bounds of the heavens and the earth. You will not be able to do except with authority and power. And obviously Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we don't have that kind of authority and power. That we can break the limits that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has set upon us and go away. We will not be able to escape from the authority of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because we do not have that kind of ability and authority in us. Because of our limitations, weakness, our time limitation, our strength limitations, we don't have the ability to get away. Now it doesn't mean that if you are getting out of the space of the earth, that you are getting out of the authority of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's not what's being mentioned here. That if you're on a plane and you're flying above, you're out of the limits of the earth. It's not being mentioned there. It's combined dominion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The kingdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, number one, so vast and huge that you cannot even imagine how big it is. And you have no ability to even get out of a portion of it. Okay? And that is the physical meaning, but the actual meaning is that Allah's authority is above you. You cannot escape from Him. Even if you disobey Him or do anything, you will not be able to escape from Him. Okay?
Some translations translate the word bisultan, except with force. I've seen some translations.
They try to compromise in the physical sense.
Yeah.
Even with the force, how far you can go.
Yeah.
I mean, they regard this modern science technology that you can be in a spaceship and you can go out so far. Okay, but that's not really what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying here. He is saying that my authority is so much upon you that you have no authority in front of me.
There was an interesting incident relating to this. Some years ago, a couple of decades ago or so, the NASA folks